Week 5's in the books. We're on to week 6. So, oh man, the waiver wire is really thinning up, man. The well is running dry. So who can we necessarily get to improve our rosters and improve our team? Oh, hopefully I can help that out. But before that, what's crack-a-lack? It's your boy Broshmo. Just in case you did not know, so go ahead and leave a thumbs up. It's much appreciated, much obliged. And go ahead and subscribe, become a bro, and do that. But like I said, man, it's starting to dry up. But you know what's not? I got a 7-round mock draft coming out. That's right. The draft material is not drying up. So if you're into the 2020 NFL draft, or if you're into mock drafts, I got that coming out next week. 7 rounds. It's going to be wild. But like I said, man, it's drying up. Let's start with quarterback, because quarterback, it's not as nearly as bad. There's still some viable guys out there. I got Kirk Cousins here. He's got a plus matchup against Philly, and he played very well this past week after that tongue lashing Adam Thielen gave him. So I like him in this game against Philly, because they're going to need to throw to stay in this game, because it might be tough to run the ball for Dalvin Cook in this matchup, because the Eagles have a very good run defense. So he's not a bad pickup. And then I got 2 guys that are actually facing off against one another this week. Gardner Minshew, who I've been praising this whole year. The guy, I think his lowest scoring game this season has been 19 points. He went off last week against Carolina. He faces a Saints secondary, which granted they've played much better in the last couple of weeks, but still they're ranked 30th against opposing quarterbacks. So it's a really good matchup for Minshew. And I love Uncle Rico, man. I love him. He's a good, safe pick. And honestly, I don't see how they can go back to Nick Foles at this point with Gardner playing so well. And then I got Teddy Bridgewater, who finally looked like he could throw the ball downfield. He's in a decent matchup. They're facing a so-so secondary there in Jacksonville that might be down. Jalen Ramsey again. So I like these guys as potential pickups if you need someone to start this week, because man, we got like 4 teams on a bye, and I ain't loving it. Now onto the running back position, and when I say the well has run dry, you really see it at running back, because there's not many guys you can probably start out there. If you're in deeper leagues, maybe DeAndre Washington or Naheem Hines, who basically sees some touches in the pass game, and then DeAndre Washington sometimes gets those red zone carries. But these guys offer little or no upside. But I got Chase Edmonds on here, because if David Johnson, he's been having back troubles, and if that continues, Edmonds' role in this offense could be huge. So Edmonds is not a bad guy to like just stash on your bench. And then same kind of goes with Alexander Madison. Dalvin Cook has the injury concerns, the injury woe, but he's looked pretty healthy this whole year. So if you can't get Edmonds, Madison's not a bad guy to stash either. Now on to receiver. Man, I've been praising Mohamed Sanu since last week. The guy is easily the 3rd target in that offense, and the only guys ahead of him are Austin Hooper, who's having a career year, and then Julio Jones. That's right, this guy is more targeted than Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley is a bigger play threat, but Sanu, if you're in a PPR league, he can really help you out there. And the same kind of goes for Cincinnati's Auden Tate, because really he's not going to get you, like, he's not going to be a big touchdown threat. But where he does most of his work is those targets and receptions. And Ross is out for the year, and AJ Green, even when he comes back, they say he's like 2 weeks from coming back. He might be traded, so this guy might not be a bad pickup, especially if you're kind of weak at receiver. And then Kiki QT, man, finally Kiki, man, coming back. This is only a good pickup if Kenny Stills still remains out, because QT, I think he had 8 targets this past week, so he's still getting some volume in that offense. Granted, I mean, they just kind of banded the run game against Atlanta and just started throwing dots all over the field. I mean, them Will Fuller owners can testify. So QT is not a bad pickup if Stills is still out. And then Deontay Johnson, man, I know. Caveat, they're on their 3rd string quarterback. Was it Devlin Hodges. So that I imagine they might bring a veteran in. I don't know how long Mason Rudolph's going to be out with that concussion, but I don't like that. But Baltimore has not been great this past, like this. That's who they face this week. They have not been that great against the pass. They've been so. Let me get an actual stat. Not Baltimore. San Diego, Los Angeles Chargers. Man, but they're 19th again, or they're 10th. Oh, they're a lot better than I thought. But still, he saw 8 targets in this past game. They didn't really go for much of anywhere, but especially against the Chargers, they're going to have to stay in this game. They're going to have to pass the ball. They've not been successful since last week, and that was against the Bengals, one of the worst run-stopping teams in the league. They've not been successful running the football, so they are going to pass. How that looks, I don't know, but if you are really in need at receiver, Deontay Johnson's not a bad pickup. And then on to the tight end position, because I love tight ends, and there's still some out there. Gerald Everett, though, he has shown he's a target in this offense. And you would think with Brandon Cook, Robert Woods, and Cooper Kupp, he would kind of get lost in that, but he hasn't. If anything, it's hurt Cook and Woods more. And Everett, just in the last 2 weeks, he's had 19 targets, 12 receptions, had a touchdown. He's the big play threat at tight end. Tyler Higbee is not seeing nearly as much volume as Everett, so I don't mind him as a pickup. He's got a tough matchup this week against San Fran, and they're 4th, I think. Yeah, they're 4th against opposing quarterbacks, or against opposing tight ends, so it's a tough matchup, but he might not be a bad pickup for the future. And then Chris Herndon finally comes back. Sam Darnold comes back. Sam Darnold really liked Chris Herndon. This actually might hurt Jamison Crowder's volume at receiver, because then week 1 he had like 18 targets. It was ridiculous. But Herndon, especially if you are struggling at tight end, or you happen to be one of the guys that has like Darren Waller on a bye this week, he's not a bad pickup. And then I threw Darren Fells in here because I don't like it, because he doesn't get targeted much, but when he does, it's typically in the red zone. He had 2 targets last week for 20 yards and 2 touchdowns. He caught both of his targets, and they were touchdowns. So he's very, very, and I mean very touchdown dependent. But hey, if you're on a bye, it's worth a shot. They're gonna Houston. They got a pretty decent matchup against Kansas City, so they're gonna have to pass to stay in that matchup. Then again, teams have proven the last couple of weeks that Patrick Mahomes, they can stop him, and playing with a busted ankle. So I don't know. I think that offense will rebound, because Houston's pass defense is pretty poop. So I like Fells as a flyer this week if you have like Waller on a bye. That's it for the video. Go ahead, do the YouTube stuff. It's much appreciated, much obliged. Be on the watch for that 7-round mock draft, and then I will have stardoms and situms tomorrow. So if you're curious about who to start, who to sit this week, come back for that. But until next time, be easy, my friends. Later.